First of all, I know what day it is. I know it's Monday, and I usually get these podcast episodes up on YouTube on Saturday or Sunday, but in my defense, I got a new microphone the other day, and I pretty much spent all weekend fucking with it. No, not literally fucking with it, because that's physically impossible, especially for me. And I ran out of time and didn't realize that I hadn't gotten the podcast episode up until late last night. And by that point, I was just too tired to do anything, so that's why it's going out today. For that, I am very sorry. I'm not going to do any more Logan Paul jokes. I'm literally done with him. I can't even. So yes. So I will preface, this is last week's podcast episode. The podcast episode for last week, episode 28. This is episode 28. Episode 29 will also be coming out this week, but I wanted to clarify this so none of you got confused. This is last week's episode. I released the episode last week on SoundCloud, and I usually try to release both the YouTube version and the SoundCloud version in the same week, but just this time it didn't fucking happen because I'm a lazy son of a bitch. And I apologize for the plosives. I forgot to order a pop filter with my new microphone, which I'm currently using, so you might hear a couple of P's. But I will have a pop filter for episode 29, which will hopefully be coming out perhaps either Thursday or Friday. Depends on when I get a chance to record it. So yes, hopefully the plosives and such won't be so bad. There's literally no kind of guard on this thing at all. I'm done talking. So, with that being said, let's get on with the episode. Alright everyone, welcome back to the Anything or Anything podcast, episode 28. Oh, fuck me, that was good. Shit. On the topic of winter weather, it's just been generally cold as hell. And I'm talking very cold. So instead of snowing like I wanted it to, it basically turned into Walmart's back freezer, which I've been in because I worked for a Walmart. I hated it. And that freezer was real fucking cold. So cold. But thankfully, I'm still recording this like usual. Recording it on the 18th, which is a Thursday. So, for my first topic, I wanted to start off with the sort of lighthearted one before I get into the more serious topics. And I don't know. I hope this doesn't turn into a current events kind of thing. I'm sure everyone's heard of what happened in Hawaii. I think it was it last week or early this week? So if you don't know where Hawaii is, you can do a quick Google Maps search of Hawaii and you'll see where it is. So in light of where Hawaii is, they're very close to Asia, specifically North Korea. The U.S. Civil Emergency Alert System accidentally sent out basically a civil emergency alert that there was a nuclear missile headed for Hawaii. So yes, as you can imagine, a lot of people freaked the fuck out because of, why wouldn't you? If you just got a civil alert message on your television or your phone saying, "An intercontinental ballistic missile has been spotted headed towards the islands of Hawaii. Please run around and scream in circles because you're all going to fucking die." If you were to see and or hear that, yeah, I imagine most people would freak out. So it turned into a whole thing and blah, blah, blah. So somebody who was supposed to be in charge of that stuff just fucked up and accidentally sent something out. But it's also slightly funny because I could just imagine some dumbass fell asleep at his desk who fell asleep and his head just smacked the fucking button to send out the alert. Just like... Now sending emergency alert. Like that. That's how I imagine it went. So yeah, that's not a good thing. Especially with the way current events are going. That's not a good thing to happen. The next topic I wanted to talk about, which is far, far, far more serious. This is about the couple in Riverside County, California, who were arrested for keeping, 8 to 12 children, some of which were chained, shackled, I guess, to their beds in their house. The couple kept their children, or at least some of their children, shackled to, I'm assuming, their beds. All of the victims were between the ages of 2 to 29. Now, first up, don't ask me how you could keep a 29-year-old basically fucking held captive in a house, unless they were all just chained up 24/7, or they threatened or intimidated the 29-year-olds or old to, I don't know, stay quiet. I don't know. I'm not sure how you would keep a 29-year-old locked up in a house. One of the couple's 17-year-olds managed to escape the house with, I guess, a cell phone of someone's cell phone, call the cops, and she led the cops back to the house where they found all of the children and young people and arrested the couple. So I don't know what the whole reasoning behind this was. According to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office and such, they just apparently these kids were kept in horrible conditions. Apparently the conditions in there were terrible, which just makes you wonder how the fuck these people can do that. It really makes you wonder how the fuck these people can do that. Didn't want their kids to leave them. They didn't want to have an empty nest, so that's why they kept every single one of their children in their house. That's what I think it is. What's almost just as disturbing is the mugshots. So, of course, they had both the couple's mugshots, and the mother's mugshot's just terrifying because she's just there smiling. She has a look in her face like, yeah, I kept all of my children fucking captive. Yeah, I fucking did that shit. That was me, all right. The look on her face is almost like she's proud of it or some shit. It's rather terrifying. And either she just doesn't give a flying fuck, or she's proud of it. Most likely both. And the mother just didn't seem to give a shit that she was probably going to go to jail for life for child endangerment, child abuse, neglect, kidnapping. I don't think they're going to have a good time in prison, especially the dude, because we all know how those kind of people end up in prison. It's just all around fucked up. This has not been a good year for California, by the way. Then there was the Blaze Bernstein murder case. So Blaze Bernstein was a Penn State University student who was back in California, apparently visiting his parents in Orange County, California, which I do know is below Los Angeles. It's where all the wealthy people of Los Angeles live. So it's a very high-income county. It's a very wealthy and affluent county. As a matter of fact, I think it's between the second to fourth richest county in California. So they have a lot of money. He was visiting his parents in Orange County. I believe specifically they said somewhere called Lake Forest, which I literally don't know where that is. What started the whole thing was that Bernstein and a friend named Samuel Woodward, apparently what started it all is they got into an argument because Blaze Bernstein, according to Samuel Woodward now, this is according to Samuel Woodward himself, apparently Bernstein tried to kiss Woodward, which, yes, it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is, that would be uncomfortable for anyone. After Bernstein tried to kiss him, and the argument and everything, Samuel Woodward and Bernstein drove to Baringo Park, which is in Lake Forest. And once there, Woodward proceeded to stab Bernstein over 20 times. That's 20 plus. You don't stab somebody over 20 times unless you're very pissed off at them, which is why my theory on the case is after Bernstein tried to kiss him, maybe Woodward just went ape shit, just lost his shit for some reason or other. There are other ways to handle somebody trying to kiss you. Just step back, tell them, sorry man, that's flattering and all, but I don't have an attraction to men. Or just say, hey, I'm sorry, bro, I'm not attracted to you. I don't have any attraction to you. Instead of stabbing somebody over 20 times. Granted, it could be something similar to like the Matthew Shepard thing. The two guys who killed him, they used what is an actual thing called a gay panic defense. It's an actual legal term. So gay panic defense is basically when someone claims, oh, I killed this guy because he tried to hit on me, or he tried to flirt with me, or started trying to kiss me, or whatever it may be, and I just panicked. I got scared. Which I immediately call bullshit. I don't think that's an actual thing unless you're just that homophobic. Which, if this is how the murder actually went down, the whole thing seems very, from the details that they gave, it seems very like premeditated. It seems very planned out because they found Blaze Bernstein's remains. They found him buried in a pre-dug shallow grave. I think somewhere in the park or somewhere like that, which means he killed Bernstein. He decided to dig a grave and bury him. It is possible he could be charged with a hate crime, because if Blaze Bernstein was gay and had an attraction to men, and Woodward killed him in the way he did, that kind of sounds like a hate crime there. It sounds like that does make me think it's a hate crime. It makes me think that Woodward killed Bernstein because I guess maybe he was just that disgusted with the fact that a gay man just tried to kiss him. Rather sad though, especially considering it's California, perhaps one of the most gay-friendly states, if not the most gay-friendly state in the country, and you still have LGBTQ people being murdered for just being LGBTQ. All right, everyone. So the part you're hearing now is some stuff I wanted to add to the Blaze Bernstein case, and also the finished episode is quite shorter than I would like, so I wanted to add some more stuff to round out the time of the episode. So I figured I would add some stuff in to make sure this was all as accurate as possible. I really like accuracy on this kind of stuff. So what we know so far in the Blaze Bernstein case is, so Samuel Woodward, who has been charged with murdering Bernstein, after talking to the Orange County Sheriff's Department investigators, he claims they did drive to Baringo Park in Lake Forest, but that was at the point, according to Woodward himself, Woodward admitted this, Woodward apparently used some sort of homophobic slur towards Bernstein after Bernstein kissed him. Yes, that would probably freak anyone out, like I said, but that still doesn't, it's still not necessary to use homophobic slurs. He claims he didn't do anything to Blaze Bernstein. He claims the last time he saw Bernstein was after the whole argument and such. Bernstein got out of the car and walked by himself into Baringo Park, and that was the last time Woodward claims he ever saw him or had any contact with him. But according to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, they found DNA evidence and other such evidence of the sort that linked him to the murder. Now, what that is, I don't know, because from all I've read, they haven't released anything yet, because The trial, of course, hasn't started. That doesn't add up. It's almost as if Woodward's trying to say it was some random person. I don't buy that it was some sort of... I don't buy that it was just that he walked into Baringo Park and some random person just decided to stab him or something. Like, if it was if somebody tried to rob him, if you're going to rob somebody, even if it's just with a knife, most people aren't going to actually have the guts to attack someone. And if they do, it may be like 1 to 3 stab wounds, and then take the person's wallet and go. That's how it usually goes. Not, oh, here's somebody I can rob. Let's stab him 20 times. That's usually not how they go. So I don't buy that it was some sort of robbery gone bad. What robber is going to stab someone 20 times and then bury them? What robber is going to stick around that long and risk being discovered in a park? That just doesn't fit that whole thing. According to testimonies and such that they were able to get from friends, and he apparently he had told 2 female friends of his that he was interested in Woodward and wanted to have sex with him, which, sure, nothing wrong with that. So, and he apparently had a profile on Grindr, which is basically like Tinder, but for dudes who like other dudes, basically. So we can pretty much assume that Blaze Bernstein was interested in men. We can assume from having a Grindr profile. That makes logical sense. So one other thing I don't agree with and I don't like is apparently what the parents have said. So according to Blaze Bernstein's parents, these fuckers stomping down up there? What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Do you guys hear that shit? Why are they hammering so loudly? Apparently if they knock some shit off right now. So apparently they're working on the apartment above mine. Very hard, it would sound like. So unfortunately, you're going to hear some of that. I didn't realize they were going to be working on an apartment today when I was trying to record a podcast episode. A lot of people on Reddit, which I know Reddit's not the most reliable source of crime and news information, but I think I trust these people because the people on this on a thread specifically about the murder, they seem pretty reasonable. They were all saying there was also someone who claimed to have gone to high school with both Bernstein and Woodward, and apparently Samuel Woodward was known to be quite the weird individual. Apparently was super conservative, and according to the same user, was a closeted gay man who apparently, according to the user, was actually rather homophobic. But, of course, they claim that was likely due to his conservative-esque type values, and perhaps he was ashamed of himself. I'm sorry, but that's still no reason to be homophobic. So, I won't go through the whole Reddit. That would just take a long time. There are some interesting theories and people who supposedly knew both of the people, both Woodward and Bernstein. So it's rather interesting, actually. If you want to keep up to date with the case, or you like reading about criminal and criminology kind of stuff, and or theories about crimes and such, I'm probably going to go through and look at some other stuff, because I really like to hear people's theories on this. Some saying it was a Grindr hookup gone bad. Some even saying that Bernstein was the one who had the move made on him. Maybe Bernstein rejected Woodward, and Woodward apparently went fucking apeshit. Because if Samuel Woodward did actually kill Blaze Bernstein by stabbing him 20 times and then burying him, because he's a dangerous individual. So my last little quick topic before we end the episode here. So I said it in one of my videos on my other channel, my gaming channel, but I've recently got into looking at the website Reddit, even though I have been for a couple of years, but I used to not be a heavy user of Reddit, but I've recently got into several Reddits and subreddits. The most recent one I've seen is the subreddit Don't Fund Me, which, as you can guess, is a pun on the words of the website GoFundMe, which is the website where people can set up a fund to get random shit, which is exactly what this Reddit is about. That's exactly what this Reddit is all fully dedicated to. It's a subreddit fully dedicated to people putting up ridiculous GoFundMe pages for ridiculous shit. For example, one of the ones I saw on the subreddit, one of them was some 22-year-old had set up a GoFundMe for $5,000 to fund her vacation because she didn't have the money to pay for it herself, and she didn't want to do anything. She didn't want to do any work to get the money. We can all pretty much figure that's the reason. Come on. And see, what I thought was really stupid was in her GoFundMe post, she says something about living in somewhere near some beach in Florida, which I don't understand what kind of vacation she's trying to take. You already live next to the beach. Why not just go to the fucking beach? It can't be that cold down there, can it? But I'm guessing she's trying to do some trip to Europe or some shit. Let's be honest, she's probably not doing for the right reasons. Why does she want to go on this trip, though? Or does she just want to go around partying, which is a bad idea? That's a horrible reason to do shit. That's the worst reason to go somewhere. That's what it sounds like to me. I think she kind of just wants free money for a vacation so she can party. And that's what some of the people in the comments were saying. $5,000, that'll get you all but 2,000 weeks in Europe, apparently. Apparently $5,000 isn't going to last, wouldn't have lasted her very long. I say wasn't because obviously nobody funded that GoFundMe page. It was rather stupid. Then there was one where a guy put up a GoFundMe for $1,500 because he apparently, that's how much debt he owes, because he went over the limit on his credit card. The guy talks about how he fucked up, how he went overcharged on his credit. He went over the limit on his credit card and owes him $1,500, which of course that didn't work either. I think he got all of $40, and I can see why nobody would donate to him. Because how is anyone supposed to know if the guy is actually going to pay it back, or if he's going to take the $1,500 and buy drugs or other shit he doesn't need? And that's what one person in the comments of the post was saying. She was saying she had a friend, and they were saying they had a friend / roommate in college who went so far over the limit of her credit card that they missed a payment on their college apartment. And let me tell you, those college apartments are expensive as hell. Those college apartments are very expensive. I've never lived in one because I've never had the amount of money to get one, but I've seen the cost of them, and by God, they're really expensive. I'm a college student now, so I don't think I'll ever have the money to live in an off-campus or on-campus apartment. The friend actually learned her lesson, and she's now working toward a PhD, and now has a credit card. And the person was saying every time their friend gets close to her credit card limit, she apparently has her boyfriend take the card away from her, which is a very good example of self-control. That's incredibly fucking clever. That's very smart. And that's some serious fucking self-control. One guy was claiming to be a U.S. Marine and using that as a sympathy card so people would donate to him so he could buy a Nissan, I think it was a Nissan GTR, one of those like two-door coupe kind of cars, one of those. And of course, nobody donated to him. It still had no donations as well. And I do have to wonder if the guy was lying about being a Marine just so he thought he could get a car. That's perhaps the laziest one I've ever seen. Like, the dude's actively saying he's determined to get a car he can't pay for. He admits he normally can't pay for that kind of car, so he's asking strangers to give him money so he can buy a car that he won't be able to make payments on because he can't afford it. Yeah, that's gonna work, you dumbass. No! And that's what people were saying in the comments. They were saying how GoFundMe has basically become a scam website and a website where people try to dupe each other out of their money. So yeah, that's why I've never used GoFundMe. I never will use GoFundMe. It's just a horrible, horrible place. All right, guys. So I think that'll do it for this week's episode of the podcast. So if you guys like this episode, you guys on SoundCloud can comment on the track, like the track, re-listen to the track. No. And you guys on YouTube can thumbs up the video, thumbs down the video, comment on the video, whatever you wish to. I don't care. And I will see you guys in next week's episode.